All right, I am at the week hive today. It's 5 o'clock, 19 degrees Celsius, and what is the date? February something. February. What is the date? February the 15th. No, March the 15th. We're not in February anymore. It's March 15th. So what I'm going to do, well, actually, I'm going to take the this off, insulation, and have a look around real quick. There is activity at the front, on the front board. I'll show you that really quickly. So there is some activity at the front board. Not crazy busy, but there's bees. Okay, if you remember last week I was in this hive, and in the top hive it was just honey, lots of honey. There were some bees there, but it wasn't a ton. And in the bottom there was only 1 or 2 frames of brood. Some eggs, but they look like day to 2 day old eggs. So if this is a viable hive, which I really hope it is, those should be now larvae laying down. And I'm hoping that there are some new eggs to show that there's a queen or not. So I didn't see the queen last week. I was kind of rushing, I guess. I wasn't exactly taking my time. I had a look to see if I could find a queen, but I didn't. And one of the viewers commented, "You should have seen the queen." Well, yeah, I should have, but I didn't. So yeah, the bees on the top board, some. That's the shim, which had all of the candy board in, which I don't think they really took to that a whole lot, to be honest. And feeding the bees at the top with Hive Alive. There's bees at the top, but I wouldn't say a lot, not really. Not a lot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this top box right off. I don't know if they've touched this at all, to be honest. I'm actually going to just knock that down. And I'm going to take this top box right off. God, it is heavy. Wow. Box is really heavy. All right, we have a cluster here. Let's take a look. Not a big cluster, but there is a cluster of bees. It's quite packed in here, in this spot here. So I think what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to knock all the bees down to this box. That was suggested by Dave last week, which I think is a really good suggestion actually, from DC Bees. So I'm taking you up on that, Dave. I'm not actually going to get into the brood. There was some brood last week. I'm going to go on the fact that I hope there is some brood, and if there is, then having a better cluster, especially through the cold nights that we might still get, then they'll have maybe a better chance of keeping warm if they're all clustered together rather than separated through 2 boxes when they just don't really have the numbers. Again, it doesn't look like robbing. This is just a weak colony. Okay, so actually I'm going to get a box and empty these. Put these empty frames in the box. That way that will just keep the bees off off of these frames while I'm trying to get them down into the one box. Alright, so yeah, not robbing. I'm convinced it's not robbing. Just looking to see if there are eggs up here. I'm not seeing any eggs. Just a lot of honey. There you go. So yeah, March 15th, 19 degrees. There's a few beetles in here, little buggers. Not so keen on those beetles, I tell you. Didn't bring my beetle sucker. I haven't charged it yet this year. So just going to knock them onto the front door. These off. Come on, girls. Off you go. There you go. Oh, don't do that with a wax frame, I guess is the answer. That's my bad. I forgot that I had some wax frames that don't actually have the plastic foundation. You got to be careful with those ones. Yeah, I forgot that I gave them these. I think, yeah, there's some beetles in here that take an opportunity of, because there's not many bees on the frames, so they have a better opportunity of getting into the hive and creating a problem for me and for the bees. Make sure I take care of these bees that are in this box, because I don't want them to continue reproducing any. A couple of dead bees there. Nothing there. Yeah, there was just not enough bees on these frames, that's all. So having just the one box now is the way to go. Thanks for the input there, Dave, appreciate that. Yeah, they would have been overrun with pests had I not reduced their numbers. And now I've reduced their numbers, they can all cluster in the same spot, which will be better for them. I'll give them this hive alive again. I'm going to grab them another one. You know what, they don't need it. No, I'm not going to worry about giving them another hive alive. I might actually give them another frame or two of honey. I didn't get into this end of the hive last week. There's nothing on that frame, so absolutely give them some stores. Oops. Make sure there's no beetles on this, no beetles on that. Give them this frame of honey. Let's look at this other outside frame. Maybe we'll replace it with a frame of honey too. I seem to remember from last week the brood was over here, so they are pretty much clustered on the brood, which is a good sign. Come on, out you come. God, that's stuck in there real good. There it is. Okay, this actually has honey on it, although it's old honey. I'm going to give them a better frame with newer comb, yellow comb. I'm sure they'll appreciate that. Make sure there's no beetles crawling around on that either. There isn't. Alright, there we go. So they got 2 frames of honey on the outside. I know there's brood in the middle. I'm not going to bother them any more than that. I'm going to put the shim on the top. Right there. And the top cover. There is a hole there for them to get out of if they want. And that is it, guys. Well, thanks for stopping by. I've got the weak hive now down to 1 box, 10 frames with honey on the outside frames for sure. Brood in the middle from last week. I don't know if there's a queen in there. The coming days are going to let me know, but hopefully they can cluster better together now that they've got less space to keep warm. This hive's still doing gangbusters, and I've just put myself a swarm trap in position 1 where hive 1 usually sits. I also have a swarm trap over by the tree. There are definitely bees scouting that out. There may well be a little bit of honey in there, so they may just be after that. Same thing with this, there may be a little bit of honey that they're after, but there's already bees on it. It smells like bees, so that's what you want for a swarm trap. Space for them, some comb, some old dark comb if you've got it, and yeah, propolis, beeswax, things like that. So looking forward to season 2026. I just hope that it continues to get warmer and things just start to build up. I would imagine I should do an inspection on this hive maybe next weekend if the weather's cooperating, because I think they're doing really good. They've got a big population. I want to see if they've got a lot of brood in there. We'll see how the population grows in here. Maybe I can give them another frame of brood next weekend if they have the population to look after it. If they don't have their own queen and their own eggs being laid, then it's a tough call. You know, I could combine them, but I've had situations before where they fight. The other option would be to just dump them on the floor and let them find their own place to go. Confuse them a little bit and they'll just go to a hive, which is, you know, the only hive that's active. That's an option that I could do. Just dump the bees out and let them find their way to a home if there's no queen in there. And next week I will definitely check out for eggs in this hive, and I'll know for sure if that's the case or not. If there's a queen, there'll be eggs in there. If there's no queen, then there'll be no eggs in there. So anyway, thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you again soon. Bye now. Something I forgot to mention is that last week I made a video and I showed you my pond and all the fish were gone and I wasn't sure what had taken them. Well, I found the culprit. It was something that doesn't really hang out in this area. I haven't seen them in this area in the whole time I've lived here. I've lived here since 1998. I've never seen them before, but we now have a couple of bald eagles that have taken residence in the area, and I'm almost convinced it was those because they flew low over my backyard the other day and into the woods behind me. I was over there scouting around to see if I could find maybe a hive in a tree somewhere, because my hive was busy, and I figured, well, if my hive's busy and there's a hive in a tree somewhere, I might see a bunch of bees buzzing around. Well, I didn't see any bees, but I did see a bald eagle. Anyway, nature sucks sometimes, but hey, bald eagles are pretty cool creatures, so I just gotta figure out what I'm gonna do now with my pond. It's gonna be a frog pond this year, and maybe I'll dig a new pond in a different location and give it some protection from creatures like that with some wire netting, so the birds can't get to them. Anyway, bye again. Take care.